is a recommendation letter for Ben that he had asked if you guys would do. Paul did it and I typed it. Nicely written, Paul.
Thank you.
He's coming in, so then we'll do this stuff before you. Have the other thing. Oh, you're not doing that first, okay.
You already been brought to order?
Yeah.
Need to say, you're a little loud. I'm ready.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
Okay, in the past, I've asked permission to contact legal counsel about some violations that have been going on in town. I've gone as far as I can go, so I called Mary Costigan today, set up an appointment for next Thursday to go to Portland. It's too big not to go up there. I can't do it over the phone. We'll be there for quite a few hours, going over all the documentation that I have collected on these three cases. Second, I have the final documents for, I've been asked as the carrier of the news from Milton to bring the final documents for the conveying of the Prospect Hill Cemetery agreement here. You can sit, Royce has already signed it, I caught him. I need signatures of the chair and Paul. And if you like, I can read it. Okay, it says witness death. I don't know what that means, but whereas the Prospect Hill Cemetery, the cemetery, located in Lebanon, has been used as a private burial ground for residents of Milton and Lebanon since 1801. Whereas from 1917 to 1965, the cemetery was owned and managed by the Prospect Hill Cemetery Association, the association. And whereas in 1965, the last known member of the association requested that Milton take over the administration of the association perpetual care, sorry about that, funds to provide care for the cemetery, and whereas Milton seeks to transfer the perpetual care funds for the cemetery to Lebanon, along with all of the responsibilities in the annual care and the upkeep of the cemetery, and whereas Lebanon agrees to accept the responsibility and the administration of the perpetual care funds and caring for the cemetery. Now, therefore, in consideration for the ongoing and conveyance herein, contained the parties whereby as agrees to follow. Milton agrees to convey to, and Lebanon agrees to accept the ministry and the perpetual care funds for the Prospect Hill Cemetery. Milton shall convey the cemetery to Lebanon through execution of the released deed. Lebanon agrees that the perpetual care funds may only be used for the maintenance and upkeep for the specific graves which have perpetual care trust fund and for no other purpose. Lebanon shall be responsible for all the maintenance and upkeep of the cemetery in accordance with the terms of the Perpetual Care Trust funds. Lebanon may maintain and upkeep graves in the cemetery which do not have a perpetual care fund, provided that such maintenance and upkeep is funded by separate town funds. The town of Lebanon and Milton are duly authorized to enter into this agreement of understanding. So I need, this is the last document that needs to be signed and taken care of. After this, it's a done deal. So I brought two of them. One is for me to bring it back to Milton, and it'll go to Attorney Sessler and Mary Costigan, and this will be the end of it. The next thing that will happen is the lawyers will convey the funds over to Lebanon now for the perpetual care. Okay, so I need a signature on both these documents, one for your consideration and one for Milton's, from Chairman Christine and Paul Netto. Just leave a credit card note.
Do you have any idea how much funds?
No, I don't. That's not for me to, to say.
Just curious.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, yeah, no, here, this one's yours, yeah, and this one goes back to Milton.
So is this the one you're sending to
I'm gonna
Mary,
bring
or
this
are you
back.
gonna do that?
I'm gonna take care of that.
Okay.
Okay, excuse me for a minute, I need to get a folder, my apologies. So last year, I had asked the board, excuse me, to put on the ballot to create electrical permits. And it was voted down, right? I'm not sure, maybe it was just a bad presentation. So I'm asking the board to put electrical permits back on the ballot again. But I have documentation this time, which I'm going to use a PowerPoint presentation to show people why I think it's essential that we have electrical permits. Another eye on it, professional eye on it. I will tell you just one story in this folder here that I'm going to present to the people. There was a trailer that was remodeled, and the electrical work was done by the homeowner. And the trailer caught on fire with a new owner.
Does the state have any law that backs up that they have to have, if they have an electrical work done, they have to have a licensed electrician do it?
No,
It
homeowner
does
can do
not?
it. The only thing that we have is they're supposed to have the master electrician is the inspector.
Yes.
But if the homeowner's doing it, he's not gonna have an electrician do it.
Well, I mean, that's a catch-22, because a lot of these homeowners that work on their own stuff aren't even gonna come see you anyways, they're just gonna do it. They're not gonna pull a permit.
Well, I wouldn't say that. The second case I have here that I'm gonna present was a contractor who was doing electrical work. And the homeowner called me saying that the breaker kept popping in the breaker panel. So that was a red flag for me to go over there, otherwise I would not have gone over there. When I went over there, if I can explain this, the contractor, along with the homeowner, I don't see the visual likeness of this, but a backsplash is the wall behind the countertop in the kitchen. They use corrugated roofing. It's a galvanized roofing. I mean, everybody likes their own little thing. So, but it was the method in which the contractor was doing the electrical work. When I went over there, it was alarming, and it brought me back the visions from that trailer that burnt. I have an affidavit from also Dan on that trailer as well. That trailer is still shut down until an electrician is called to repair that. Back to the resident who called me, come to find out that it was just a contractor. I contacted the contractor, and my conversation with him was, "Are you a licensed electrician?" No, he's not. So I explained to him that he is not to work in this town ever again. I can't control whatever other places he works, but I'm reporting him to the state because he's not to do. He explained to me that he thought he could change switches, and well, he did more than that because he actually hid wires behind the wall with just wire nuts, nothing in a box, just like that trailer that burnt down. So the metal on the backsplash is what caused that electrical breaker to keep blowing off. But do you know what that backsplash is once it becomes electrified? It becomes a conductor. So you got a sink there. I mean, you're going to be very careful how you tread on. There are certain techniques you use if you want to do that particular job. So I think having the eyes of this office on that.
So the state statute has nothing to really back us?
No. So that's why I'm asking for the board to put it on the ballot. Me, and I will be the speaker.
And you're really asking to be the final inspection.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to double check on these guys.
Well, rough and final.
Okay.
Rough is more important than final.
Because it's behind before everything is
Yes.
closed up and done. So you can
Yes,
see
so
it
you can see where the boxes are. You can make sure that the final would be just all the devices,
How about
making sure the
requiring-
panel is
how about-
marked.
How about requiring these electricians also to file with your office a final?
Well,
Their final
bringing
inspection.
electrical permits into town, they would have to come and pull a permit.
Okay.
My participation with a licensed electrician, because you get some sense of professionalism here, is to make sure that the bonding's in place. Things that need to be looked at inside of the panel, breaker panel. It's not a big deal. I mean,
Well, the nature of filing is to eventually fail.
I'm not trying to take anything away from you.
Trying to keep them safer.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
The homeowner.
I mean, when I saw that trailer the first time, it makes it tough when you show up on a site like this. She wasn't in that trailer 30 days. Am I supposed to condemn that building because of that? Kick her out of her own home? No, I mean, and then the other side of me is, how about sleeping at night? What happens if that burns down? Well, it did. Didn't burn down, but there was an electrical fire. Now the power's off to it. And no one was hurt. Thank God. Anyway, I would appreciate if the board would consider it anyway. Next. Hey, some people are going to be offended by this, but you know what? We have a problem out in this area over here. In fact, all of the townhouse people have noticed that we have. It's about the smoking outside this. Usually, there's no smoking on premises. We have butts that are going into the salt bucket. I've seen them inside the flower garden. They're on the ground. It's not professional looking. Right outside the front door of our town hall. So I guess what I'm asking is for the board to make a motion to have no smoking on the premises.
Well, I'd make a motion that we had no smoking on the premises.
I'll second
All in favor? Yep, so we can post it and get
Yes,
something out.
yes, thank you. Thank you.
Because I've had other people say stuff to me about that, so.
it. So that means we need to probably post a sign up on something too for a
Yeah,
while.
oh, yeah.
So, Royce, this is responding to your request for documentation on the generator. It having some report. Well, the report comes in the fashion of the
Bill?
bill. Yeah, so you saw that. But when the technician was here to do the maintenance on the generator, he had some trouble with it. He started it up and he noticed that there was some deficiency. So what he did was he went over to the tank and checked the amount in the tank, the percentage, and he found it at 39%. I think it was 39%. And the problem with it being at 39% is the generator will come on and it'll go through its normal cycle, but it's not carrying the load of the building. So in the event of a real outage, you would have the generator kick on, but now carry the load of the whole building. So we were going to do a test on it, but he had said that you might want to have someone, Gagnon is our supplier, have Gagnon check out the tank to make sure that it's working. Technician said that it might be the secondary discharge valve on the tank. So I called Gagnon a little while ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. Friday morning, tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, they're going to be here to check that secondary. It's part of your service. Check that secondary valve. If it's bad, they'll change it. If not, then we're going to do a test on the generator. Okay?
Great.
Also, while I'm talking about utilities, I couldn't find any record of the last time the AC was maintenance. If you look at that duct out here,
Oh, I have no
yeah,
idea.
yeah. So if you don't mind, I'd like to look into that, see the last time. Before, I mean, we have a good handle on it because now would be a good time to do the maintenance on it because it's not running. It's just for the AC.
Jason is
Wasn't
supposed
that,
to be.
yeah,
Yeah,
I thought
Jason's supposed to
Jason-
be coming in for the heat. You wanna mention it?
I was going to talk about that too. Jason, we had said that there was a problem with the manifold over here.
Yeah, that's what he says. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, he's, like everybody else, he's right out straight.
Oh yeah, well, it's cold out. That's
and
why.
I talked
Yeah,
to
it's
him,
cold though.
Yeah.
I talked to him the beginning of the week
Okay.
and told him again because
Yes,
when we
yeah.
were having all that trouble with it
Sure.
being so cold.
Yep.
So he said he would get that done, that quote for the manifold,
Okay, good.
and
Maybe we can get a quote for him to take a, to maintenance the AC.
Yep.
Not on a contract, but I mean, take a look at it. He is AC.
HVAC, I believe.
Yeah,
And
okay.
plus, he said when we were tearing this wall down, he was supposed to come in and go up above and look around, but nobody ever contacted him to do it. So I don't know how that got dropped, but he said the guy that was doing the construction, when this was all torn apart, he had wanted to go up and look
Yeah.
at the wiring for this, I think, and something else. But it didn't happen because he never got,
Does he know he can get up through the hatch over there?
I don't know,
And
probably.
you can see across from there.
Yeah, it's pretty roomy up there. Actually, I've been up there. It's pretty roomy up there. So, and that unit is probably in the highest arch of the whole building over there, anyway. So.
I don't think we realized at the time that he needed to get up there and look, or we could have had him in.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I
Yeah,
think he
didn't
said he
know that.
spoke to, I think he knows whoever was doing some of the work, and he mentioned to them,
Yeah.
to let him know, but I
They
don't
did.
know, I
Yeah.
don't know what happened.
Yeah, maybe the young fellow was doing the painting and wall work there.
Yeah,
Drywall.
yeah. And then last, I think I had mentioned this before, so we're looking for a date for a joint meeting between Milton, BOS, and the Lebanon BOS in regards to that invasive species, the naiad. Milton is raising and appropriating money for such a thing, and I know that you guys are struggling with that as well. So I guess I'm looking for a date, or I'll leave it with you, and if you can get back to me on a date.
Well, we should do it soon because we'll be in our budgets already, so I need to talk to
Yeah.
everybody who can.
Sure.
What's the availability?
We meet, we don't meet as often as you. We meet the first and third Monday of every month.
So what about the last Monday of this month?
The
The
third.
third Monday. So our next
So
meeting,
what about the last Monday of this month?
well, we don't meet.
Oh, you can't come, oh, okay, you wanna do it when you're.
Actually, I'd like to invite you over to Milton.
Oh, absolutely.
It'll be televised. And,
Okay,
yeah,
so.
it would show a lot of unity between the two different boards.
Kind of scary, is it gonna be like big TV
What
and stuff?
time are you doing this?
The meeting starts at 6 o'clock.
Oh, good. All right, so the 23rd, you guys wanna do that?
We're gonna move our meeting to,
Nope, because you don't have to be over there till 6 o'clock.
But you can do it in
yeah, we
February.
probably could do that, have our meeting
All right,
here
so
first, and
the
then meet you
first-
guys over there.
This is January.
Yeah, first. And that's would be the third. Oh,
But
it's a
that-
holiday.
That was a holiday, so. So you're sure the 23rd because the 16th was a holiday?
Well, we all, the first and,
This is January.
this right here, and the third because there's a holiday here.
Right,
Yes.
so that you will have it the 23rd?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll fill out a selectman's request form for Milton. And that would be all I have. Thank the board for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
So do you want to set up a meeting, a date for next week's meeting?
Yes, we should. I know Monday's a holiday, but I'm probably still gonna come in the afternoon because of budgets and try to wrap up or whatever I'm still working on. So I don't know if you guys wanna meet and do budgets on that day. We can
Yeah,
work
we got a lot
on
going,
once.
that's gonna be the only real day we got to,
It's a holiday, but I mean,
it's fine.
And I've got one person that would like to come in that day, the next meeting you have, Nancy Wyman. She just wants to come and talk to you about getting an article on the ballot.
well, why don't we meet on the 16th
Okay,
for a workshop, not with Nancy, so we can do budget stuff.
okay.
Because it's a holiday, because most people aren't gonna wanna come anyways.
All
they're
right,
gonna be
I'll
doing their
see
own
if she'll
thing.
come in
So,
this
Yeah,
day then.
okay.
All right. So
So
what
it's
time are
online.
you gonna do that?
The workshop?
Mm-hmm.
I would do it the same time we normally would. Do you wanna be
3
at
o'clock?
like 3 o'clock?
Sure.
Like usual, we can just work on what we
Yeah.
have left and to going through and questions and stuff. And we still have a lot of people we need, and if anything, yeah, we still have a lot of people to schedule. So maybe we should schedule people, not have a workshop and just schedule budgets, because we haven't gone over the road budget, which we need to do. We need to go back over the fire budget, fire and rescue, because we sent him back in to do some stuff with Jordan. So we gotta go back over, so I wonder if we should not call it a workshop and call it a meeting and just go over budgets with them,
If they can make it,
if they can make
you
it.
know, if somebody's got a holiday plan, so.
Well, that's okay, but
Right.
we still have several of them out there, I'm sure that.
We should be able to find out.
Well, who
ahead
do
of
you
time.
need? Because I need to contact them, whoever, I don't know who you still need to see.
We need fire and
Fire and
Rescue.
EMS and roads.
roads.
Who else?
That'll take up quite a bit of time.
That'll take up-
Right, if they can all come, I just, if I know who else you have, if these guys can't make it, then I'll call somebody else.
That's kind of what, it's just like, look at my home, expense report. government. Off the top of my head, I would start there, so I don't think, we've done most of the little ones, this is one of the ones we have to do without people, but I think we're good. We've done we've done the line of burglary, we've done the budget committee.
Okay, so you've done CEO, you've done rec.
Yep. We've
You've
done most of them.
Summer camp.
Yep.
Library,
We've done library.
budget committee budget.
Yep.
Okay, so you need to do fire in this
Yeah.
again, you need to do
Uh-huh.
highway.
Yep.
You did planning board too, right?
Yep.
You did conservation, how about Mary, how about animal control?
Are they separate? She can come in, we should talk to her, but she's not separate.
Okay, so it looks like, other than you're gonna work on
Was
transfer.
it
She's
separate last
separate.
year? Was it? Okay.
You're gonna work on transfer.
Okay, so Mary is separate. I didn't realize they had separated her budget.
All right, so I'll get in touch with her too.
Okay.
Cause you could get all, you could have 3 of them,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
All right, so not workshop, you want meeting?
Well, if we're meeting, you know, if we're having,
Okay. All right, I'll get in touch with them and see if they can all make it. And
I would
get
think
started
Mary's would
with-
probably be the easiest. I would have her go first. She'd probably only take maybe a half an hour. She'd probably be the easiest.
Okay,
And then everybody else would probably take an hour, I would say, to even go down through them to go back over.
okay.
Probably.
All right. Okay, so I talked to Paul Pelletier today, and he actually was gonna call us about coming in, because he's getting some, information together, and he wants to come and talk to you guys as much as you wanna talk to him. So he said he would give me a call. He thought he'd have it within a couple of weeks. He thought he would have the information, so he's gonna call me when he gets it, and I'll set a meeting up for you to come in.
Okay.
Okay, this is an application for veterans exemption. And he is not 62, but he does have the qualifications to receive the veterans exemption.
Do you just need one signature, or do you need more than one?
Just one, just put the effective date today too. You probably didn't put your title in there. You can pass it around if everybody wants to look at it. The other thing I have is Ed Merrill from MetroCast called today for a couple of things. He called to find out the status, or he was following up to find out about the extension for the franchise agreement. And he said all that does is it gives MetroCast the legal right to operate until the franchise agreement is renewed. So he was asking if this could be signed and returned to him. The other,
This was in my.
well, I've got it right
Oh, you
here.
do? I thought you had it. Okay, good.
So in other words, once we sign that, that's just like signing the contract.
No, it's not. It's
just an
signing
extension before
I
an
know.
extension
If
before
there's
you.
no
did
end
this.
date on it,
We went
It's
through
open.
this, and I signed it December 22nd, it's right here.
you did,
Yes,
Oh, okay, you had a signed
Yes.
copy, all right. So, you want me to take this and send it to him? Is that what
Yes.
you're asking?
yes, because we talked about this already in a meeting, remember we did?
yep.
Now, I don't know who's supposed to attest, is that the clerk? Okay, the other thing he asked about is I made an appointment for him to come in on the 23rd with this company, Access AV. They install video equipment. They've done it in Rochester, and there's also a list of towns. I'm gonna give you all a copy of this email that explains who they are and different towns that they've done business in. So they're gonna come in at 3:30 on the 23rd. Ed and this guy Eric from Access AV.
Has anybody ever given us a price on this yet?
I don't,
Mike, you had some people that you knew that could do this before too.
Yeah.
correct? Yes.
Yeah.
it's not the same group then? It's
No.
not the same,
Are you willing to reach out to them and see?
Have been in the same meeting? Or you, I'd like to be part of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'll be here at the meeting when they come to present. That's a good review.
so did you write that down?
Right now, as we speak.
Okay, and then I've got 2 certificates of appointment for alternate planning board members. One is for Sarah O'Brien, and one is for Ben Thompson.
Susan, do you have a copy of the list of towns that they've done work in?
Yes, I'll give you this email. You can read it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, so I'm gonna have, that's September 23rd, right?
Sorry.
Thanks. Okay. Now, we get some news from Jim Foster, who's the bridge guy. And he sent over a copy of the work plan. And Lebanon is on here for 2018-19. He said the Maine DOT share for New Bridge Road is funded for 2018 and 19. So what I did was I copied the page that shows us, and then the work plan, this is the introduction. So it kind of explains what they're doing, you know, what they're gonna do and when they're gonna do it. So I thought that was pretty good news. And it says the state's funding 520,000.
Do we get to see a plan before they go ahead with this?
Well, I would say to take a look at this introduction and read what, you know, everything that they're talking about in there, and it probably will tell in there what the steps are once they decide that it's gonna get done. And you can go onto this website, I forwarded it in email to all of you as well. There's a 305-page work plan, so I didn't print that all out. I printed you the introduction, and anybody can go in and look at it if you want. But the 305 pages, I mean, it includes, I believe, the whole state as to different, the counties and towns that are going to have work on this in the next few years, because the work plan says for 17, 18, and 19.
I think you're gonna have a lot of citizens that deserve to have some answers to questions of how that bridge is built. Number one being the height of it over the water. I think somebody ought to probably follow up on this and stay on it. You'd probably, your folks will hear about that over on the Milton side too, I'm sure.
Talking about the depot.
Especially if they
The New
make
Bridge
that
Road
bridge so,
New Bridge Road, yeah.
if they make that so low that you can't get a boat under it, we're all gonna hear about it.
Correct, and I'm sure when you're spending $1.4 million, that the bridge will be built knowing that there's businesses on the other side and boats on the other side that
It'd
they
be
get
kind of
in.
interesting to see
Man,
those,
maybe
see
double
some
it, I don't
plans
know.
if they've got any, you know?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah, this year that Milton is still raising and appropriating, and I think this is the last year we're gonna have to raise and appropriate money for that project, so we're ready to pull the trigger.
Yeah,
So that's all I've got.
I just hate to see something just crammed right down everybody's throats here
I'll
that,
do up one up.
you know,
Yeah, no,
some
it's-
engineer didn't do his homework and,
Yeah. Well, that's the nice part about having an engineer. If it's built wrong, it's on their plate.
well, they could build it correct and still have a lot of upset people. That's my point with this whole thing.
If they build it correct way, why would they be upset?
If you just set it too close to the water, that's all it's gonna take.
Right, and that would be built wrong. Yeah.
One prime example. And I would think that they'd wanna make sure that's at least a two-lane bridge. I'm gonna guess that nowadays it probably would be
With walkway,
with a walkway at least
Yes.
on one side.
yes.
And probably a fence to keep people from jumping over.
Yeah.
Just because of the rules nowadays.
That's at state level too.
Yeah,
It's not local level.
right. But we've got a year anyways, right, before they start building,
There's no date.
at least.
Yeah, there's no date. This
And
is
we
where-
could get knocked off the list, but, right?
Yes, if either side, it's the town of Milton versus the state of Maine. And if, I know that we're ready, but if, it's a matter of when, it's very time sensitive, when state of Maine, DOT, is ready.
So I have one more thing, and it's regarding tree growth. and there's a couple that bought a house on Baker's Grant Road. The property was in tree growth, and generally you have a year from the time you purchase property in tree growth to change the name on the tree growth. You have to get either a forester to do a new plan, or you recertify the plan that's already there and agree to go with the people that previously had it in tree growth. So these people didn't do this. It's been over a year. I spoke to the guy a while ago about it, but there's a bigger problem with it because they cut a bunch of trees when they first moved in. And it appears that where they cut the trees isn't in tree growth anyway, but it still affected the land because of water, right?
Yes.
The DEP had to go in, and
Yes.
so it's a mess in that respect. But that still didn't touch, that part of it didn't touch tree growth.
Correct.
Okay, so the guy came in the other day, and I said to him, you haven't done anything yet as far as getting your name changed on the plan. And so he said, well, I'm working on it. And I said, well, there's a penalty that's gonna be, incurred because you haven't done anything. So he also said he thinks he might have cut some of the trees in the tree growth, so I was like, oh, please don't tell me this. But anyway, so I called Jeff Kendall today at Maine Revenue, and he sent me all the templates of all the letters that they send out to people when they need, you have to send a bunch of letters. So I have the first one, and I want to send this to him so that we're doing this all with paper following it. In the first letter, you can normally give them, I'm not sure how many days because it didn't say, but I'm suggesting that we say within 30 days he needs to come in either and tell us that, yes, this statement, they've got the statement from the forester saying that a new forest management plan has been done, or they're going to keep the management plan that's in place and change the name on it to theirs. If they don't do that within that time frame, then we send another letter which gives them 120 days, and if they don't do what they're supposed to do in that time frame, then we can fine them $500. And then you do another second notice that you can fine them another $500. And then there's a final letter.
Is our assessor,
I have not
Familiar
talked to
with
him
this?
yet. I'm gonna talk to him tomorrow.
well, perhaps we shouldn't do any action until we get a little bit more professional opinion on this.
That's fine, that's fine.
Sounds to me like it could turn into quite a mess for the town if,
Well, I don't know for the town so much as for him, but
So do we think that we cut any trees that are in tree growth?
I don't know.
You don't know, so.
And Jeff Kendall said, you have to be very careful with how you handle this, because you gotta be sure if that's the case. But,
Did he give you any explanation why he's dragged his feet?
not really. He kind of like isn't really sure. Because one of the other questions he asked me was, well, how much is the penalty? So I gave him a ballpark of what I thought it would be, based on what he has, and based on what the penalty is, and based on if everything was the way it's supposed to be. And so he didn't say a whole bunch about it. He just said, yes, he would do something, but I think we need to do this to get something up to him. So,
I suggested we have our assessor go over this
yeah, oh, absolutely,
before we
absolutely.
go any further.
Okay.
And that way, then if we need to send this out, then do it.
Yes,
Get
ma'am.
things rolling in the right direction.
Right,
There is a lot more involved with this too. He knows the boundaries if the homeowner doesn't.
okay,
There are some issues there.
yeah. All right.
Okay. Yes, Dana?
Christine, on the previous subject of Burke's, I think that Sue said she had an email address.
Of what?
You have an email address in regard to the bridge?
Oh, for the bridge?
Yes.
Yes. It brings you to maine.gov, and it's in Maine projects. Do you want that?
Yes, please.
Okay. I'll write it out, or I'll make a copy and give it to you, because you don't want me to read this.
Thank you.
It's
That's
too
long.
long.
That's last year. Next GP.
Okay.
Sean?
If I could just address the board before, I know you plan on doing some workshops tonight and some executive sessions.
Yes.
First off, I would like to thank the board.
Sorry.
I'd like to thank the board for approving the moratorium that Mr. Philbrick presented to the board on Monday. With that in mind, I do have a couple other things that I know me and Mr. Philbrick here are looking to get resolved. One being when the moratorium vote is going to occur. I know that that motion has not been finalized. I would like a decision, if possible, to be made tonight so that the planning board can move forward in prepping for informational meetings in regards to the marijuana moratorium, as well as working on informational meetings for the ordinances.
There was a vote taken in the last meeting.
To accept the ordinance.
Right.
Right.
But
Now,
not
is
as
the
to when the vote was.
Okay,
Because throughout this entire process, the planning board has been working to try to get the Board of Selectmen to hold a special election for the moratorium. We've been in this process now for 2.5 months. I think, quite honestly, we've kicked the can as long as it can. I'd like to get resolution so that we can move forward as your planning board, since you've charged us with the duty to move forward. So if the Board of Selectmen could make a motion tonight to make a decision, that would be fantastic.
I need a little explanation. What, we signed this moratorium. I mean, we signed to go ahead with this moratorium, but in order to have an election, or put this on a ballot, it's gotta be written the right way, correct?
Well, we have to get specific order. We wouldn't put that on the ballot. You would have that present for the people on the counter, or you'd have it.
So then we'll have to
You'll have
call it.
hearings and all that stuff.
Right, so then you need a name on it. We're gonna use that top line.
I wasn't here on Monday, so I haven't even.
Well, it's called Town of Lebanon, Maine
I have
ordinance
one.
establishing a moratorium on retail marijuana establishments and retail marijuana social clubs.
Mhm.
Would that be a title to it?
Well, that's probably what you would hand out. I don't know what we would put on the ballot.
What they're asking is for us to get this thing, it really have a name on it here and
No, they're asking us when we're gonna vote on it.
When do you
we did
want to
have a
hold the
vote.
town?
what was our vote the other night?
Royce, let me clarify then. What I am asking from the Board of Selectmen is when we plan on scheduling a town vote for the moratorium. As we have discovered, it is the legislative body of the town that needs to vote on the moratorium.
Correct.
Right.
The planning board has been pressing for a special election, which at this point, we're running on a razor-thin margin. We have been waiting for the Board of Selectmen to make a motion as to whether to hold a special election or hold a vote in May.
Correct.
I am asking the board tonight to make a decision so that the planning board can move forward with informational meetings.
Well, I would stick to originally and make my motion that we vote on this moratorium in May, so we can really get it, we can have several hearings, we can get it out to the public, on
And I
that.
suggest we don't wait that long if we get this set up, because otherwise you're gonna be about 3 months down the road before we even begin the process. Whereas they're ready to go. Is the town so broke that we couldn't have an election for this? Have a special town meeting? Is that the problem?
No, it's not, Royce, we've had this conversation several times, so you can make a motion also. I mean, I made a motion, so if you don't agree with it, that's fine. I mean, is anybody seconding my motion?
I want to go in May.
So, I mean, I made a motion to have it on May so we can get the right and correct and have the lawyers review it and get it on the ballot in May.
What I don't like about February, supposing we have a very small turnout. It would be a shame if 100
Be the end
people.
of February, beginning of March,
Well,
probably.
yeah, same thing. It would be, where was I?
Sorry.
It would be a shame if 100 people decide for 7,200. Okay, that's where I stand.
And how do you come up with those numbers? How'd you come up with those numbers?
If
You
you
think you're gonna
remember-
have 7,200 people come out in May?
No, I'm just, I said, if 50 people represent 7,200, that's not much of a ratio.
I think the planning board's worked very hard on this to get,
No, what
to
I'm
get this
saying-
information out, and they've done it in a timely manner. We just need to move ahead.
Well, that's,
We're holding up the whole thing now,
well, that's my move. I stick with May.
and I disagree.
Okay, that's how I. Yes, Deb?
Wouldn't a special election, I don't think we'd have to worry about 50 or 100 people making a decision, because wouldn't a formal special election also include the right for absentee ballots?
It could, with timeframes, you should have to get them, it could.
That was my understanding of
It's a
what we were looking at, was one with a ballot and the
Correct.
right for absentee ballots.
The absentee ballots can go out.
So I'm not sure that the concern here is actually of 50 to 100 people
Well, there's a lot more
voting for
concerns for me.
7,000.
There's a lot more concerns for me.
Well, would you mind sharing them?
Well, I think we've had this conversation several times, but, I mean, I have concerns about how much, I know we have extra staff, it's also gonna be time frame where we'll be starting to get tax bills in, not saying that that has anything to do with the busyness of that, it's also the time frame and the money issue, the whole over aspect of the money issue. I just think it's a better time in reading from what's starting and changing. Thank you. I just feel May is a better time to do it, and we can have several hearings before then, we can do 2 or 3 extra hearings to explain it, why we want it and what we want, and go from there. And I know that, and I appreciate everything that the planning board is doing and how hard they're working. That's how I feel, no matter, that's how I feel.
How do you
that's
think
what's
your
best.
voters feel?
Royce, I think that's what's
No,
best.
no,
I'm just telling you, I know you don't agree with me, but I'm not gonna argue with you. That's how I feel. I think May is a much better time. I think that, the state's still working on a lot of stuff, and I know that, it'll be here sooner than later, trust me.
There'll be a lot of stuff being put in place, even if we get this thing done in a month's time.
We made a vote, you can make a motion. I mean, you can make a motion also.
We've got a motion on the floor, why don't you vote on it, then I'll make one.
I think we did.
Motion, he seconded it. Well, do you two vote yes and then?
I vote yes, and it stays in May.
I vote no.
Many.
And you guys wanna work on the smaller question that will go on the ballot?
We have a recommendation from MMA.
Oh,
It came
good.
in today.
Good, great, because then we can send that right over to legal and have that ready to go, so we don't,
Well, I put a request in to have Sue contact legal.
Yeah, but she
And-
has to,
And she needs permission from you in order to
Right,
do
yeah.
that.
yes,
Could you grant her that so we can send that request?
absolutely.
So I can?
Yes, I have no problem with her sending that question that they've done yes, Ben?
Why is the planning board not allowed to contact legal, even though they would still come back to the board previously for permission, if you will, because the budget had to be looked at, but now it's going through Sue, so it's a roundabout answer, whereas past practice has always been the chairman's been able to contact legal.
Well, I don't think that's how it happened, I think.
I can give you 5 years, well,
Well,
7
no,
years
I'm not
worth.
saying that part, I'm just saying recently what just happened. I mean, Jen sent it to Sue and asked her to go to legal, she can't go to
But
legal
even
without
with
our
this question
permission.
right now, I guess is there's things that I think planning board should be able to contact, and come in, talk to you guys, hey, we got this issue, we need to get an answer. I'm just asking, because from what I've been seeing, they need some access.
What just happened was that Jen sent it to Sue to contact legal. and Sue's asking us if it's okay. That was that question there. That
You're not
was the stuff
opposed
they
to
did.
that, then it sounds like.
No, I'm not opposed to it, no, I just,
Well, I do know that I had addressed you on December 12th, actually, asking
Right.
the planning board to have legal, be able to reach out to legal in that regard, and at that time, you had denied that request.
well, I think it depends on what it is, and if you come and talk to us, like Ben had said, you come talk to us and make, okay, fine, go ahead, but I mean, I think, I don't want just everybody just going into legal whenever they feel like it's necessary. I think if you come and say to us, can we send this to legal, then that's fine. I'm not
I think we
saying,
should
I'm not
do it.
opposing completely, I think we just wanna be involved, what you might be sending to legal.
And I get that, I'm sorry, just 1 second.
Sure.
I get that, I understand, not wanting every member of the planning board contacting legal, but that's why we have a head of our board, just as you have a head of your board.
Good point.
They should be able to reach out to legal when we have issues, so that we don't have issues like our prior one where emails got lost in translation, and that we can get a straightforward answer so that we can continue our process.
I think at least for the marijuana issue, the planning board chair should have permission to contact the lawyers direct.
Not only that, but with the
We can be,
non-conforming lot
if we
ordinance.
need to know what's going on, there's no reason why the selectmen can't be put in the emails. No reason why we can't be CC'd
So
on
are
it.
you making a motion, Bryce? I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I mean,
You've
I
got a
really
motion
don't.
on the
I mean,
floor,
I really
and
don't.
we're into a different discussion. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, make it a motion.
I
Yes.
mean, we can make a motion
So you're
that,
making a motion
That the
to,
planning board chairman, at least for the marijuana, for the marijuana questions here, be allowed to contact the town lawyers as necessary. Until this issue is resolved.
Discussion time? You guys open. for
Somebody needs
discussion?
to second it to make it legal, but you get a second on that?
yeah,
No second?
Wait a minute.
Christine seconded it.
I
Oh,
can
she did?
second it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, no, wait a minute. Providing that if you call the lawyer, you give us a copy of what's going on. WCC.
Whatever he
Right.
said. I know where you were, but it's whatever he said.
Yes, Bill.
I just feel it might be a little dangerous, and I think I understand your point. I'm just gonna throw my 2 cents worth out there if you're willing to let me. I like the way it was done in the past, and if planning board sits there, because they are a separate legal entity from you guys, they have just as much authority as this board of selectmen on their land use issues. Same as Mike, his codes needs to contact. But the same thing has always been done, what Mike's doing now, he comes in and talks to you guys, and you guys are supposed to be looking at the budgets, you're supposed to be looking at the money. And so I think it's better, instead of giving a free rein, this is just my 2 cents, to keep it the way it's always been, they come in and say, look, we need to contact. Okay, then you can say, okay, well, we have it in the budget or we don't, I think there should be that checks and balance. I'd just be a little afraid of letting,
Then I'll withdraw my motion.
just my 2 cents. 5 years down the road, you start a new practice here, none of the people are here, none of you guys aren't here, they're not there. Where are you at? Keep it on the same checks and balances.
Well, I think Royce's motion, I think your motion is still okay, Royce, only because it says just necessary for the marijuana issue, is what you said,
Yeah, until it's resolved.
until it's
yes.
resolved. So, I mean, that just takes care of that. But
That
again,
might,
I
that might
think,
be 10 years. No, I don't think it'll be that long. But Ben's got a really good point here, and here I am, I'm arguing against my own motion, but it makes more sense. These people need access. And they are a board, they are a legitimate board, very legitimate, and they work hard. All they want is to be able to talk to the lawyers. They've already, and they will agree to make sure that we're CC'd on it, that's fine.
Okay.
Well,
Are we
since
good?
it caused
You
all
can-
the ruckus, thank you
Oh,
for
you're
your
welcome.
time.
Thank
You gotta take a vote still.
Well, I don't, motion.
No,
to-
first, second, no vote.
I did such a,
Well, you took yours off the table anyway, right? Didn't you?
Yeah, well, sort of, not, well, did you? I don't know. Let's fix.
Just leave it.
let's read something out here. Then agree or disagree.
Okay, Royce made a motion to allow the planning board chair to contact the town attorneys as necessary for marijuana issues until resolved. Christine seconded, and I believe you said yes too, so, but, is it all in favor?
Yep.
Yes.
Let's
Thank
go
you.
with it for now.
Public participation still, all I wanted to do was explain what I put in, so it's on camera, but what I handed you guys was draft meeting minutes about Prospect Hill,
Yeah,
from March 24th, 2014. So it gives you guys probably a little more background than what you've had as far as what was discussed at the time with John Catwick. And I thought, honestly, I thought it also had the trust amount on there. I have it
That's
in my
why I
head, but I don't
asked.
want to say, yeah. I
Yeah,
have an
somehow
idea, but I
that
don't wanna say.
disappeared off of there, which made me nervous, but I can't say
But
anything
it
now
also
because they
explains to you
signed
that
it.
people are still being buried in that cemetery, about 5 a year. So I don't know, there was no plan put in place when I went out. So someone's gonna, you now just took everything from Milton, so you're.
Without
going to
even
have to
knowing how
know where to
much
bury
money you're
somebody.
getting.
And I don't know who's in charge of that, so I
Well,
just
don't
want to
you
bring
have a
that to you.
cemetery committee?
Yes, but we're not responsible for that.
You have
We haven't been
cemeteries.
given that
No,
responsibility
they're for
yet.
maintenance, and then you have a cemetery association that deals only with Forest
Burials?
Grove. Only with Forest Grove,
Right.
am I right? You were on there.
We did offer to look after that, but we haven't been given any documentation with regards to what's going on, which was specifically why I asked you how much money was being transferred for perpetual care and what the boundaries of perpetual care. We have never been given that or charged
Well,
with
since that
that,
meeting, there
so
may have been even more Milton people buried there. So
Maybe.
It would be beyond me to name that amount.
May I ask you, put your other hat on if you don't mind, that's probably rude of me to ask you to do that right now, but is John Catwick still involved with cemetery
Yes,
over there?
yes.
So he had offered his help to us as a board at the time, so I don't know if it's on here, but if you don't, I do have his contact, no, Sue's got it too, but you were CC'd at the time, so you might want to reach out
It
to him.
says right on this document right here, town Milton Cemetery trustees, the chairman, John Catwick, and it's signed by him too. I'm sorry, I should have brought that up.
Because he's been doing it, and he knows where,
Exactly,
if
yes.
you're off a foot, it's gonna be
He
a bad day.
knows, yeah.
Yeah, but that was why I asked you, is because I knew that the original documents, which were being considered to have discussion with the cemetery committee, once we got going, we were brand spanking new, not even, I don't even think a month old, Ben, when that first started happening. And when it was being considered, we did look at that document, and I know that there were specifics as to how much, and I'm just concerned that the select board here just signed a document without, I mean, when you go to sign, to sell your house, there's an amount right on there that you owe, what comes out, what's being transferred, and this is not being disclosed, so.
So this is the last document. It has gone through a lot of legal eyes. So it's not at our level, it's at the legal level, brought back down to us to hand over.
Right, so how do we now find out how much has been given in perpetual care? Because from the sound of that document that I heard you read, my question becomes then, it talks about each trust has to be maintained separately, and then if there are graves outside of each individual trust, they have to come out of town money, so we have
Lebanon
several.
graves.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. So now we have several different trusts that are there, and we have the stuff that isn't in trust, Lebanon grave, that has to be cared for by Lebanon money, and we have no idea how. So does that
in
absolve
goodwill, we're just making
us?
sure that Lebanon
Right.
people in that cemetery are being taken care of as well.
Right, but does that, when that trust
Milton
money
was doing
comes
it-
out, does
Milton
that?
was doing it, they were taking care of the whole cemetery.
I understand that. Yeah, I know how it's been taken care of, but what I'm asking is, when the trust money for each individual trust runs out, because they're Milton people or whatever, does that absolve then Lebanon from caring for Milton graves? I don't think so, and that's why I thought it was important that it should have been noted monies that were being transferred. Just my personal opinion, and I'll leave it at that, but as part of the cemetery committee, I would have liked to have known how much money is being moved around here and when it's coming and when it will be sent over to
We'll reach
Lebanon
out to
and.
them, and we'll reach out to lawyers, because I know they've been involved too pretty heavily with that,
We
so.
could probably have an additional discussion, we have the joint meeting.
I'd appreciate that as the cemetery committee, not just keeping it behind the little closed doors, you know?
If you-
Quickly, Dave, because we have to go to
Yes.
executive session, and they're waiting for us, so.
Mike passed the document on to you. Was there a need for a motion to be made to sign that document?
No, it's just a signature on a document.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna go into.
Wait, one question, Mike,
Oh,
excuse me. Are they, how many graves are left?
I wouldn't know that, I don't know.
John does.
John Cavan.
John Catwick does.
Yeah,
Maybe he
We'll
should
reach
have
out and
been
have a
here.
meeting with him and sit down and talk to him.
Okay, so after a certain date, all the money that's taken in will be taken in by Lebanon, am I right?
it'd be, yes,
Yes.
that's,
Somebody buys a
Yes.
lot, the
Yes.
opening of the grave and so forth and so on.
yes.
I'm not sure that they're not already all sold.
Yes, yeah.
They are already all sold, so Lebanon's getting no more money for the sale of
No,
the
I
graves.
was asking, I don't know.
But
Right.
you're there, so I want to ask, because I think it's right to ask, and I don't think you guys know. But this was set up as all individual trusts, is how it was explained at the
Yes.
time. That's scary as heck, because you'd have to maintain, and as John said, there is an individual perpetual care that says, I want 2 yellow plastic tulips on my grave every year. You're required to maintain those right now. I mean, last I knew. So I guess there's a question there. I don't know where legal's gone with this, but I think the approach needs to be combine those funds into perpetual care. Let's take care of this thing, because right now you got a mess.
Well, we have,
You got a real scary thing right there.
right, so we've done a great job over in Milton with John Catwick heading it off.
Yeah, well,
And sending it off to legal. A long time ago, kicked off the transfer of those funds over to here. That's why I asked if you had a cemetery committee that would, because they're gonna have to be involved in taking this on as well. Someone's gonna have to be responsible for all of the paperwork for every grave.
What I've been saying.
That's what we've been doing, so we're conveying that on to,
But that's why I'm concerned that we've never even, as a cemetery committee named and appointed in this town, we've never even had this discussion. Nobody's ever had this discussion with us. Nobody's ever showed us what are we getting ourselves into. We've never even been consulted on this, and we just had a board of 3 selectmen sign it all away,
I think it's
so.
bigger than you guys.
Well, it may be bigger than us, but,
We'll
you
just
know,
set up a meeting and we'll try to get through this. We're gonna have to, so.
thank you. Thanks for that, Ben. It's nice somebody gives us that.
But we need to go into executive session. What's our next? For one MRSA 4056A, personnel matters.
Hey, whatever happened to our slip that was up there?
Here somewhere.
You can't. I'm waiting.
So we want to second us going into executive session?
Okay, at 7:10, thank you.